new life. Welcome, everyone. This is the fifth annual 2024 Pineapple Support Mental Health Summit. I'm your host, Laura Desiree, and it's a great honor to be hosting these days of such intentional conversation. If you've seen the promo going out across social media, please feel free to share it. We still have another wonderful day of discussions, but this entire summit is honing in on the many diverse relationship dynamics we find ourselves in the adult industry. So thus far, we've talked romantic relationships, we've talked family relationships, and today is a very necessary discussion and focus on professional relationships. You will see some overarching themes, and boundaries seems to be one of them. I'm going to introduce everyone that's on the panel today, and when I do, they will reveal themselves by turning on their videos. And what I'm going to ask from the panelists today is to let us know how long you've been in the business, what you say you do in the business, and for the fun of it, if you were a dessert, what dessert would you be? I'm going to start with this fabulous reveal of someone I love so very much, Anna Foxx.
Hi. Um, okay. How long have I been in the industry? That was the question. How long, what do I do, and what dessert? Okay, I've been here for going on 12 years now. What do I do in the industry? I feel like I do all things sex related. Uh, Everything from A to Z. I'm a producer, performer, advocate. I don't know what starts with Z, but be creative. And then if I was a dessert, I'd probably say a chocolate donut because I have a whole.
Oh, it's gonna make us so hungry. I know that we're gonna get so hungry by the end of these introductions. So thank you for the chocolate donut. Anna Foxx, can't wait to have you in on this. I will
Thank you.
reveal our next panelist, Erika Love. Come on up.
Hey everybody, I'm Erika Love. I've been in the industry 4.5 years now, and I tell people I'm an OnlyFans creator and consultant for talent and businesses in the adult industry. And if I was a dessert, I'm gonna go with apple pie, just like warm and sweet.
Absolutely. Pairs well with ice cream. Sometimes
Yes.
a little cinnamon in there. I've heard of people melting cheddar cheese on top of it. And I say,
That is a trend.
yeah, I could try that. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
get into that. It's a 2025 goal. Erika, thank you so much for being with us today. I had a grand pleasure of meeting this person virtually the other day, and we had such a spark of connection. Dillon Diaz, please do.
Hi, everybody. How are you? I am Dylan. So happy to be here. And okay, so I have been around for about 7 years now, and I do all the things with all the people. I think my superpower is diversity, and I'm proud of that. I like it. And then in terms of dessert, I wanted to say a chocolate lava cake because I love a chocolate lava cake, but that can be kind of messy. So I'm going to go with flan instead because it's creamy and delicious.
What have I done to us? Everyone, collect the drool. Dylan, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank
And
you, Kevin.
to our audience, I know you did just meet the fabulous Nigel Cook, but for the purpose of introductions for folks who might be joining us for this second hour only, Nigel, please do let us know.
Hello. Uh, I've been a therapist for like 9 years at this point, and specifically doing work supporting people who are engaging in consensual sex work practices for probably about 5 years, and a pineapple support therapist for I think either 2 or 3, I can't remember exactly. And if I were a dessert, I'm gonna cheat and say candy because I have a huge sweet tooth, and candy can look so many different ways, and I can feel and do so many different tasks at different times.
But like, I hope not too sour. Some of the extreme sours that are
Ooh,
happening right now in candy trend, and I just don't, I can't go that far. I can't go that far into the sour.
agreed.
Well, everyone, I'm Laura Desiree. If we're meeting for the first time, I'm a content creator, certified intimacy coordinator for film and television, and I've been in the business for almost a decade now, including years as your lead anchor and one of the producers on Naked News. So it's been a fun legacy being a part of this wonderful world. And while we have the chance and everyone's up on the screens, I would love to announce the sponsors once again and give such thanks to them for keeping Pineapple Support and this summit going. So our sponsors for this year's summit are Pornhub, C for S, Strip Chat, Cam4, F to F, Feet Fix, Fan Shop, and Feel Hub X. Thank you so much. All of you in the audience, it's the season of giving and receiving. And on our Pineapple Support homepage, we do have a donation page. And if you are feeling or available to be generous this year, please do consider making a donation to keep this resource available. Now, the most important order of business is the dessert that I am. And thinking about this, I would have to say, as boring as it is incredibly nutritious. I'm going with that handful of trail mix that you say I'm being bad and enjoy. Maybe there's one little piece of chocolate in it. That's what I'm going with these days. Uh, all right, everyone. So let's get into this. We've got some questions here that are going to be pertaining to our navigation of relationships in a professional sense and a little bit of those friendships that we have that maybe support us as professionals. So the first one that I'm going to bring to us is a continuation of a lot of what we just heard in the presentation from Nigel, but this is the chance for these panelists to really weigh in. And if you feel a story that you want to tell us, please do. What boundaries do you find crucial to set with colleagues and collaborators to maintain a healthy and respectful work environment? I will begin with Anna.
I find when it comes to colleagues and friends, setting a healthy boundary right away is important because a lot of the times people will mistake your actions for something deeper. A lot of the time I've had people that I've just met on day one be like, we're best friends now because we fucked and you spit in my eye. No, no. So, establishing boundaries of like what your relationship is, what it means, and being very clear with who you're working with so they know and that they don't mistake a really good scene for a relationship that you're not intending to have. I think that's a really good place to start with your colleagues and your friends.
I hope this doesn't put you on the spot, Anna, but can I ask what that might sound like in an actual exchange when you are maybe wrapping up a day with a really successful shoot? This is the first time working with this other collaborator, and maybe they're starting to push for a little bit more access, more long-term availability to you.
What I'll do is I'll explain to them people who do have that access to me and how they got it. So for instance, oh, we're best friends on day one. No, my best friend I've actually known for a decade and we've went through this together. That's why they're my best friend. Oh, I'd like to date you. Well, I take myself out to eat caviar. So do you do that? Like there's boundaries, there's levels, and you're not quite qualified yet. So I'll tell them the qualifications to get there.
I love that. And it's so about speaking it, and getting comfortable with it. So that's why, hearing how another expert is doing this, another professional is doing this is so useful to folks. So thank you, Anna. Erika, I'll bring it to you. What boundaries do you find crucial to set with colleagues to maintain a healthy and respectful work environment?
I think Anna kind of nailed it on the head that a lot of the time, these intimate acts we're doing can be confused for a real relationship or real friendships. And you need to go into with the right mindset that this is work, this is business, this is professional. And just like any work friendship, it takes time to build that. And it's built through communication and trust, like any other relationship. I think, going in with expectations out on the table of what you're going to do that day, how is it going to go, and then at the end of the day, give them a hug, say it was so nice to meet you, here's my Instagram, and go back to whatever you're doing. I deflect to the Instagram a lot. I just very politely say, I don't give out my personal number until I really know somebody, like Telegram, Instagram. Those are the best ways. My email, best ways to get in touch with me. I also just politely tell men I do not date in the industry. I have my work boyfriend. I will deflect to him at times and say, hey, you got to ask him. Like, and it's nice to have that support at times from somebody who will step in if somebody's not taking a hint. But yeah, just never feel bad about protecting your boundaries and saying what you have to say to somebody to do what's best for you.
Erika, dare I flip this for a moment and say,
Sure, please.
what if you are the part of that dynamic that might want to explore more and consider maybe trying on a friendship for size? Is there any way that you indicate that so that it's not perhaps disrespecting their boundaries?
Absolutely. And it's absolutely happened. I have shot way above my weight class in this industry and, just had to very politely be like, okay, well, they're not interested in talking to me right now. So I'm just, and what I did was, oh, well, I'd love to chat with you some point in the future and try to get that yes to, okay, I approached them at the wrong time or in the wrong way, but maybe I can get them to say yes to talking casually, again on Instagram and seeing if it could lead to something potentially in the future. But again, you can't take that rejection personally. It is business. This person has a business decision for saying no to you. And it's going to happen to you at some point when you say no to somebody else. And you just need to understand that this is how, in this industry specifically, this is how you build professional relationships. Don't take things personally.
So necessary. And I love that you brought in that handling of rejection and how to brace for that, how to work through that. I feel we could do a whole summit maybe next year just on rejection. I'm going to bring it to Dillon, please, my love. Dillon, what boundaries do you find crucial to set?
I enjoy a mutual boundary of mutual respect for each other's space and energy. And I try to lead by example as much as possible because I don't like awkward conversations. So I will, kind of keep my space, kind of keep my distance and hope that they'll follow my lead. But if I'm working with someone who needs that connection to continue to keep the energy flowing, then I make myself available to that. At the end of the day, I think it's pretty easy to make your social media available to them, exchange, contact information through social media. And if, the conversations grow, like I feel like it's a thing of patience. You wait it out, you see how it goes. If I respond to their stuff and they respond to my stuff, if DMs start coming, if, the conversations go beyond like work related things and become more friendship or more supportive, then we might exchange numbers, but it takes time. It's a process.
And I feel like there's this very real measure in society that, hey, if we are able to have really great sex together, then we must be compatible in every other way. And that is not the case. That is
No,
the case, right? And so when you're doing it professionally, you have this great scene, and it's undeniable that there is some chemistry or connection happening on screen. It doesn't necessarily mean that this is a fit for a relationship to pursue outside.
absolutely. Absolutely. It's like anything. I mean, what we do on front of a camera to some degree is a performance. And so we don't really know what we're like outside of work. That takes time to get to know a person in that way.
Yeah, powerful, powerful stuff there. I'm going to bring it to Nigel. What boundaries do you think are crucial? Please advise us to onset with colleagues and collaborators to maintain that healthy balance.
As everyone was sharing, I was thinking about like some of the ways that, I have engaged with people in this field, and the two things that kept coming to my mind were the idea of like consistency and predictability. And so like figuring out when you reach out to someone, like are you being clear in your intent for what you are trying to reach out about? And in doing so, like, are you following through with that and being consistent and holding yourself to that standard? And similarly, if somebody is trying to, make you do something outside of that clear intent or that expectation, making sure that you revisit and you're like, no, this was my purpose, this was my intent. Like, I want you to, feel safe and valued and, cherished as a colleague. And also, you may not want me as a friend because sometimes I'm really mean to my friends.
This is going to be a really fun question to learn a lot about your personalities. And so please, if a story does come up, feel free. This is your time. What qualities do you value most in friendships within the adult industry? Let's start within. So making friends with other colleagues, other folks that are professionals in this game, what are those qualities that you value the most? I'm going to start with Erika.
Love this question. And I have truly made friends in this industry and have my real life friends. And I expect the same from all of them, which is most of the time, sense of humor. That's usually what gets me first. If we have this, we laugh at the same jokes, we get each other in that way. And I think specifically when it comes to, the adult industry, it is, are you consistent with me? Are we building this trusting relationship where I can rely on you? I know that you're going to show up on time. You're going to be ready to work and shoot. You're not going to take 2 hours to get ready and eat your lunch and have a smoke break or whatever before we shoot. You value my time with that, so there's that, just respect for each other on both levels. And the biggest thing I think is just empathy. Like if, being able to say to you, I got 3 hours of sleep. I'm not at my best. I'm going to do the thing I said I was going to do, but like, give me a little grace right now. And people being able to be like, okay, that's fine. And I give the same back to them. But again, I think it's building friendships or any relationships across the board. It's communication, it's consistency, it's respect, and hopefully, yes, some smiles along the way.
Is there anything in addition to those qualities that you would deem vital for a friend that is outside of the adult industry?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest thing, even with the adult industry, it's like, do you do what you say you're going to do? And the thing that I say to, maybe they're not my best friends that I talk to every day, but they're friends in my real life. I know you'll get back to me when you can. And the fact that I trust you to get back to me when I know you can tells me that you also respect me because you do. And again, that's something you have to show people. And when I give people that room to do what they need to do and get back to me, they usually show back up. And that's how I maintain relationships. Because we all have stuff going on, right? We've got to give people just a little bit room to be themselves, do what they got to do. And when they show up and get back to you, then I know, like, okay, this is a real friendship.
And it's amazing how conditioned we've become, like over the last even just decade of technology and the immediacy, right? Like if I send you a text, I better hear a reply immediately. And that's so new to our psychology. And yet we're holding so tight to it. But giving each other that space to maybe return a reply when you're feeling better, when you're feeling like replying to it, granting that
Right.
permission. I love when someone offers that. That is such a beautiful thing. So I'm with you on that, Erika. I'm going to bring this one to you, Anna. What boundaries, or sorry, what qualities do you look for in the friends you make in this industry?
Um, Probably gonna echo off of what Erica said. Just being honest and open, especially in the industry. I feel like you kind of get like a VIP pass to be someone's friend. It's like you literally like lick each other's bodies and stuff. So like, you kind of like you can be friends now. So just being honest and open with what your needs are from a friend are I feel like really important. For me, I really like having therapy with my friends. I like to sit down and have some wine and like let's talk about this, let's talk about that. So I call it cuddle puddle sessions that we do. So I really like my friends being vulnerable with me. And I am that friend that will be like, I'm not alive this week, so just ignore me and come pick me up off the floor when I'm back to life. So just be honest and open with me and we'll be friends. It's pretty easy.
I love it. Do you actively work at keeping a balance in how much you see them professionally versus how much like off-duty time you would spend with these people? Because that can be hard. That can be tricky.
Yeah, it's pretty hard because of convenience. Like a lot of my friends will, I'll see them more often if they live closer to me. But I do reserve like holidays, especially I try to kidnap all my friends and force them to come hang out with me. So even though they have families and stuff, I'm like, but did your grandma make really good macaroni and cheese because I don't know. Mine was really good. So I try to kidnap my friends and make them stay with me.
I love it. That's such a
Yeah.
fun thing. Dillon,
Yeah.
talk to us, please, my love, about qualities that you look for, what you're scouring for when you're deciding, is this industry person a friend?
For me, self-awareness is really important, both in the industry and out of the industry. How are my actions making other people feel around me? Am I taking up too much space? Am I being too loud? Am I making them uncomfortable? Am I being too vulgar? Am I, it's really, I think about that. Maybe that's, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I think about how I'm impacting the people around me a lot. And when I notice that someone else is also doing that, I'm like, oh, this is one of my people. We can be friends.
Oh, that's beautiful. Keep your friend group growing. We need folks like that.
Yeah.
We need more of that in our world. Nigel, any advice that you have for perhaps qualities that aren't automatically detected, but something we should be on the lookout for when it comes to deciding, is this person just an industry colleague or are they a friend?
Well, I think Dylan just had it right on the money of this idea of humility. Like, I think that is so important of like having that self-awareness and being able to recognize how you're showing up to places, being able to lean on that empathy and like just showing that you are a decent human being. And Anna said it as well, just the idea of being vulnerable, like that is something that is typically an attractive quality to people.
It's so hot. It's amazingly attractive. Please, 2025, I want more of it. Tears, hugs, longing gazes, please. This one's not in the questions that I submitted, but it's come to mind as we're talking and we're getting into this nitty-gritty here. And I'm wondering what our thoughts are on navigating the very real feeling of competitiveness. I think everyone has a moment where they're either on the receiving end or on the giving end of that feeling of competition. I mean, it is an entertainment industry. So organically within that, there's a lot of comparisons we have to other folks that we are associated with. Some of these people might be our friends. Dillon, I'd like to start with you.
Uh, this is a tough one for me, honestly. I'm not very competitive. I feel like there is room for all of us to do what we do, but sometimes it can be a little bit frustrating when I see someone who may do a little bit less than I do, but is going a lot further than I am. And so I kind of have to have a moment of self-therapy, quiet time, like have this little talk with myself. Okay, you've got to get through this shoot. You can't, you've just got to get through the day. You can go home and cry about it and curse about it. But right now, you've got to be sexy. You got to be hot. You got to be funny. You got to be whatever it is that you got to be to get through this shoot. So it's tough. It's really tough. Um, I just try and be patient, open-minded, extend grace to people. And just if it's not my time, I realize, well, you know what, maybe my time is later. Or maybe there's something else. There's another plan for me. That like, don't worry. Like I try not to compare myself or try not to like think about, well, why don't I have that? Why am I not driving a BMW? I try to say, okay, well, my time is coming. Just get through the day.
I like that. And I know I sprung this one on you, but thank you everyone for considering this question. I do think it's a quite an important one. Erika, just as jealousy can be an ugly or uncomfortable feeling to deal with, competition is again, it's one of those real feelings. Whether or not you have experience with it, how do you navigate that real competition that exists in the industry?
I'm also not a competitive person, I will say. I think there's enough room for all the titties in the world to be celebrated. I really am about equality in that space. And I look at people more successful than me, and I definitely like, I want to be you when I grow up. But then I'm like, how long have they been doing this? How much hard work have they put into this to get to where they are? Yes, we're always going to hear the story of the 22-year-old that started in OnlyFans and made $1 million. It happens. But for many of us, just being like a working person in this industry, it takes time to get to a certain level of success. And I personally really value work-life balance. I got my yoga teacher certification on the side. I have a whole other like life outside of this that I want to focus on as well. So I take that into the equation in determining, do I want to put in all the work that they put into getting where they are? Do I want to do the 50 guy gangbang? I don't know if I can do that. So, I have that conversation with myself to really evaluate, can I get there? Do I want to get there? And what's the right path for me to get there if that's where I want to go?
I love that note about taking a little inventory of areas in your own natural desires to be investing in. Maybe there is a side uh, project or activity that you enjoy, and sort of having that as something to lean into that's yours as well. I think that that's really important. Anna, competition in professional friendships.
Okay. Uh, um, I am competitive, so I feel like I don't compete with other people per se. I feel like I compete with myself on what I know I can do. But I had to stop doing that because I was just pushing myself way too hard. I'm like, you don't need to perform at 130% every damn day. Like, I don't need to, this is not the gym. My performance can be casual. I don't have to go 130 balls to the wall every single time. So I kind of calmed my own competition down. And for other people that I would see like kind of competing with me, I would always tell them like, unless we are identical twins and we fuck the same and we do this shit the same and we do everything the same, there's no reason to compete with me because I'm a squirrel, so you don't want these nuts. But but yeah, competing competition in porn is, I feel like, natural because it feels like a sport. We're all trying to do the best job that we can do. But doing an okay job is okay. At the end of the day, people jack off into tube socks sometimes. So you don't really have to work that hard. If a tube sock can get it, you can too.
Anna, I am an identical twin, and I'll tell you that competition, there's nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
she's
Can
not
I,
in my line of work,
There
thankfully.
you go. See?
if you don't mind, I just wanted to add one piece of advice for anybody who might be new and this is happening to them. Where I've seen this happen a lot is, why won't he shoot me? Like, why won't this like amazing photographer shoot me? Or why won't this big star shoot with me? And instead of saying, why won't they shoot with me? I would say, what do I need to achieve? What do I need to do to be able to work with you? And like flip it to a more positive, aspirational way instead of getting like kind of down on yourself about, oh, why won't they work with me?
I love that. Instead of letting a paralysis set in where you're just anchored in this disappointment, how do we motivate maybe achieving these things, right? That's putting that energy forward and to good use. Nigel, if we are navigating any feeling of competition in a professional friendship, what are we supposed to do?
Well, first, I just want to say, Erika, I love the cognitive reframe. Like that is such an important skill to practice, and like we sometimes slip into these errors in thinking all the time, very naturally. But like that is a perfect example of how you can challenge that. And I forget if it was you or someone else who brought up the feeling of jealousy. And something that I try to remind all people, all clients, is that every feeling we have is our body's way of trying to tell us something. So like when we're angry, it's usually we need to like protect something. When we're scared, we usually need to like get out of a certain situation. When we're happy, we need to celebrate. And jealousy is another feeling that our body is trying to communicate something to us. And sometimes it's a simultaneous thing. Sometimes it's a, what do I need to do differently to get this thing that I currently don't have that I want? And sometimes it's the empathetic, like, how do I celebrate this person? Like, oh my gosh, good for them. And so, like, sometimes you have to do multiple things with one feeling. And that's super inconvenient. But I love the idea of like thinking about it differently and using that feeling as, inspiration more than anything. Like, what do I need to do moving forward?
Love it. This one, you might go a little abstract with this, or find you're like me and you're just going to make jot note deliveries of qualities to answer this. But how do you determine how much access to give someone to your life? a new friendship as you're deciding maybe this is going to be a long-term friendship. Maybe this is a good friendship. You know what? We're like-minded. We're both in this industry. How do you determine how much of yourself you are going to make available in the friendship? I'll start with Erika.
With work friendships, I will be very honest. I probably have like 3 or 4 people that have access to me, like you're describing. Like they can text me anytime, I'll respond to them. They know about my personal life. They, know what I did before the world of OnlyFans. They've really gotten to know me. And, it is, again, it happens over time. It takes a while to build those relationships and to get to know people. These people have to show up consistently. And, there's no certain amount of time I give it, or certain amount of, oh, I've worked with this person 5 times, so now, they have all this access to me. It's just really, are they investing the same amount of time and getting to know me and reciprocating those actions? And like, I'll give an example. And my work boyfriend, he just got a puppy. And so I was like, I'm gonna send your puppy a present. And I knew how like hard it was for him to lose his dog. So I was like, oh my God, this is such a big deal that you're getting a puppy. So we exchanged dog Christmas presents this year. Like it's just, and was just an organic, like getting to know each other, becoming friends over a couple of years. So yeah, just reciprocation probably is the biggest thing to getting more and more access to me in the real world. And I will say I'm very misleading about how much access you could get to me on social media, because I do put everything out there. I try to be authentic. I try to be genuine. I can see how people would think, oh, she's, available to everybody all the time. But no, I'm an old lady. I go to bed at 9 o'clock. My phone is silenced by 10 p.m. I'm up at 7 a.m. If I don't bring my phone into the yoga studio at all, like I have clear boundaries and my friends respect those boundaries.
There's something so interesting that you said there, and Nigel, I want to put a little pin in this because I want your thoughts on this, especially um, the pace that we set in how we share this access.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's outweighed, right? Sometimes you have a friendship and one friend is ready to just dump it all and make it all available and give you their whole gritty, real, raw, messy, lovely life story, where you might not be feeling ready to do that. And I love that you said, hey, it's a pace you have to decide, right? Like, how do you feel divulging this information should be carried out? Because if one person's just laying it all on the table day one, it doesn't mean you have to do that.
I definitely had someone like trauma dump on me at a shoot house. First time I knew who they were. And I was like, oh yeah, let's do a scene together. Trauma vomited all over me. And I was like, whoa, I gotta go do something else right now. Really nice to meet you. Let's chat later. And like it, I'm happy I recognized this, but I was just like, whoo, I had to like step away for a moment and be like, okay, I need to, adjust myself and like shake that off. So yeah, if you trauma dump on me in the beginning, I'm not going to give you any more access, to be completely honest with you. So again, it works in both ways. As you're sharing information with people, be mindful of how much you're sharing and pay attention to how much they're sharing back.
Mm. Oh, I hope that was heard. I really hope that was heard. It's such a fabulous balance to strike. And that is really when you feel loved and safe, right? When there's that balanced opportunity of someone listening to you, but also someone willing to share with you in that way. Dillon, talk to us about deepening these friendships. How do you determine if someone is privy to an all access pass?
It's not always a conscious decision for me. It's kind of like a gut thing and was something that happens over time. Um, I think everyone gets like the base level of access, respect, and consideration. And then as time goes by, we see if you can get a little bit more. And it's a give and take. We're both giving and we're both taking. I think I came into this industry with this misconception that it was going to be um, sorry, another something's coming. Okay, that this was going to be a very isolated time for me, where I was going to be just doing my work, not dating, because the people probably are not going to want to deal with me, and so I was like, all right, I was ready to do that, just focus on me. But then what I found was that especially the people that I was working with. We're a small community. We're often misunderstood. We're often, stigmatized. They kind of needed me to be available to them, and I needed them to be available to me. And so it wasn't as isolating as I thought it would be, because I just wanted to be present for my community. And then, I meet my husband, who actually works in the industry as well. And so there, all the boundaries are gone, but that wasn't automatic either. Like, we met in November of 2019, didn't start dating until March, didn't start dating until March of 2021. And then after that, we got married like within minutes. But it was a very slow buildup to see where this is, could I trust this person? Do I need to let this he was newer to the business than I was. Like, do I need to let him go through his thing in the business before we try and, build something together? And, it's trial and error. It's you kind of just weigh it out and see what happens as you go. That's how I do it.
And that's another big reality check, that it is trial and error, right? Like, every once in a while,
Yeah.
you might encounter that heartbreak, you might encounter that disappointment, and you gotta keep that in the reality of socializing, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for disappointment or these surprise attacks of, guess what? I'm actually disappointed because this didn't work out.
Yeah.
It's important to keep that in check. And I love your story. My gosh, that's so cute. Were you friends that then became lovers, that then became married? Like, was there a friendship era in there?
There definitely was a friendship era after we first met. Like, we spent years just keeping in touch with each other by social media. And I watched. He sends me an into one day. He sent me an interview that he did, and in the interview, at the end of it, no, actually, throughout the interview, listening to his responses, I was like falling in love with him. I was like, oh my God, what a great guy. Why haven't we started dating? And then at the end of the interview, he reveals that he's newly single. So that's when I jumped on my opportunity.
Oh God, I love an investigative interview. Anna, talk to us about deepening a friendship and what you're looking for to determine what they are privy to.
Um, I feel like sometimes I really struggle with bringing people into my spaces, probably when I shouldn't. I feel like I just am like a golden retriever where I just want everybody to be my friend. So I often will invite people over and then realize, like, oh no, they're not doing well in this setting at all. Like, they don't know how to respect this, how to respect us. They're not, working cohesively with my other friends. So it's not really a good fit. So I've been trying to tell myself to calm down and listen to like my little intuition about people more, research people more, because oftentimes we don't have Carfax on people. We're just meeting them for the first time ever. And I don't know that you previously were like insane or something like that. So I need to know these things, and I need to kind of like put boundaries on myself to give people time, for me to make my own judgments on them, to make to know if I want them to be friends or not. I've been burnt a lot by just wanting all the bunnies in a bunch in my arms. So they bite. Don't pick them up right away. Give them time. So that's where I'm at with friendships and people. I'm just learning to relax, calm down, and let the relationship happen organically.
That beautiful surrender. Nigel, with everything that we have heard today, how may you advise us to determine who is privy to an all access pass?
I don't think I can add anything, and rather I will just echo all the things that have been shared. And something that I also just want to remind, all the panelists, all the viewers, all of, everyone who is potentially watching this, is your friendship is a privilege, not a right. And so, like, you don't owe it to people, and you are allowed to withdraw it if you make a decision and maybe you decide, you know what, no, this isn't for me. Like, that can be done and is an option as well. And unfortunately, sometimes we do need to break up with our friends or people who we thought were friends, and that can bring all of the feelings, relief, sadness, everything in between. And it's just something that has to be done sometimes.
Excellent segue to this one, because we're going to a place that's a little bit darker, and it's going to be about judgment. Any experience with judgment from friends? How do you handle that? I mean, I would imagine it's more likely from folks outside of the business, but it can absolutely exist within the business. How do you handle, navigate, and recover from judgment? And does it mean the end of a friendship? I'll start with you, Dylan.
Um, so I've actually had really good experiences where most of the people, and most, not all, were pretty understanding of my choice to go into do adult entertainment and respected that I was making a good decision for myself. I started when I was around 40, so I was not young. They knew that um, I was grown up. I knew myself. I knew what I would take, what I couldn't take, and they trusted that I was making a good decision. Even if they didn't necessarily agree with it, they trusted that I was doing what I needed to do for myself. I did have one friend who grew to be ultra conservative. When we were, in the height of our friendship, they were cool. Everything was great, no problem. We had a good time together. We were supporting each other. It was great. And then I started to hear less and less and less from her. And I assumed that it was because of something else. But it turned out to be because of me and what I was doing with my life, because they were no longer supportive of even homosexuality. They'd gotten ultra religious and just ultra conservative over a period of time. And for me, in that situation, I just had to eliminate that person from my life. I was not going to explain myself or feel like I was less worthy because of the choices that I was making in my life. I'm, I trust myself, and you've got to trust me too. And since we can't have that trust, then I have to say goodbye. But most people, even if they don't necessarily agree, they accept as long as you show them that you're healthy and you're happy and that you're not hurting anyone and you're not hurting yourself. They tend to like, okay, I don't get this, but happy for you, And that's been my experience.
That was so major in our family discussion yesterday about how do you, sort of endure that experience of judgment from family about what you do, and exactly what you said, assuring or at least speaking that this is something that you're proud of and that this is something that, you are doing in a healthy way, in an ethical way, and in a legal way. Legal, not illegal. That was a really big note from yesterday. I like to see it carried over here as well. It's something that just needs to be reiterated again and again, right? We have that power, and it's a good reminder to ourselves. Anna, the hard talk of judgment. How do you endure?
Well, it's kind of strange because before I got into porn, I didn't think anybody would judge me for being in porn because everybody I know is sexually active. And I could kind of, if I wanted to put a label on all my friends at the time, they were whores. So I was like, well, yo hoe ass can't judge my hoe ass. So I was wrong. Immediately my close friends were just like, disgusted, creeped out, like overly concerned for me. And so the reaction from my friends kind of made me push my family away. And I thought that that was necessary. Like, if this is how my friends treat me, then how is my family going to react? So I just kind of never really opened up to them about it until recently in my life. And I found that that separation that I did wasn't necessary. Like, my family, as long as I'm safe, comfortable, happy, and all those things, they're happy with me. So I've given my family a new respect to sex workers that they didn't have before. They're definitely more tolerant and more respectful of people around them. So I feel like nowadays I don't really let anyone who is offended or doesn't like what I do bother me at all, because I'm so in it. Like, this is me 100%. I'm not leaving. This is my life. So if you don't like it, there's the door. But yeah, my family loves me, my friends love me, and my dog loves me. So if you don't like me, I don't know. I don't know.
Yes, put all that into perspective, right? Like, line them
Yeah,
up. These are the people that love me.
yeah.
That's important work. Erica, when we're talking about judgment, my friend, how do you handle or deal with it? Do you have experience with it?
Of course, everyone has experience with some sort of judgment. I think For me, I started OnlyFans during COVID. So I had been laid off from the corporate world and, it was like midlife crisis time anyway. So my friends and family were definitely keeping eyes on me to being like, what are you doing down there in Austin? You're real quiet. And so it took me a couple of months to eventually tell close friends and most of my, my siblings what I was doing. And everyone was very positive. I've actually had a lot of crazy entertainment jobs and mainstream entertainment, so they felt like it made sense for me in some kind of way. And the challenge was really me making new friends and telling new people, about what I did for a living. And really, again, I just kind of waited. And then, after I felt like we got to know each other a little bit, I ripped the band-aid off and revealed what I did for a living. But I feel incredibly lucky to have such a supportive group of friends who will let me shoot at their houses when they're out of town, or, think they see my stuff on social media and they're like, whoo, what Erika just posted, that was great. They're incredibly supportive and I love them very much for that. I've only lost one friend, I would say, who again, her journey took her a different way and there wasn't any big conflict. It was just a slowly backing away, growing from each other. And so but I think, if somebody's going to judge you for what you do, you do need to reassure them, I'm going into this with the right mindset. I'm engaging in legal behaviors. I'm not doing anything that's unsafe or risky. When I explain to my, real life mainstream friends all the testing and everything on how it's regulated, they were like, oh, like it was like kind of like it gave them some peace of mind that there were a lot of rules and regulations and that I was safe. So I think that goes a long way too when you explain that to people. So, and now my sister just started an OnlyFans and camming. And so my family's like, all right, this is what you guys do. And very supportive and they feel safe that I'm showing her the ropes. And so yeah, I think if you are really struggling with judgment, definitely talk to your pineapple support therapist on how to message that to your family. It does take some practice when you're revealing this to people for the first time.
Wow, Nigel, judgment. Does it signal the definite end of a friendship, or is there the potential to mend and work through that?
There's always the potential to mend and work through things. And, first and foremost, having never been in this position personally, my heart goes out to the three of you for who have had the negative experiences. And also, I do think that education piece becomes so powerful. Like, even me being on the outskirts and doing a lot of work within the industry from like the therapy advocate side, even I've had some of my friends be like, well, why? Like, why do you want to work with those people? Are they being trafficked? And I'm like, they're cool as fuck. Like, I don't know what to tell you. And like, if they're being trafficked, I don't think they're gonna set up a Zoom meeting with me. Like, let's use some common sense here. And so again, just, revisiting those conversations, trying to explain and really clear up any potential misconceptions because I mean, this is probably the most stigmatized job. Another one doesn't come to mind off the top of my head, but and it's just ignorance and misinformation.
Maybe an abortion doctor might be one of those other,
Maybe.
maybe. It's true. It's true. We have a very unique circumstance that we live within in this modern world. And I mean, stick around for tomorrow, audience, because we're going to go into that self relationship where stigma, I guarantee, is going to be a huge theme. I have one question left, and I want to hone in on professional relationships specifically. And I mean with people where it's platonic, it is not a close friendship. This might be someone with a higher power in the industry, maybe someone who is a director, a producer, a manager, someone that you have a very strict professional relationship with. I know that sometimes those lines blur. And sometimes the effect of praise can have a sway in us. And I mean, I can speak from my own experience. Sometimes praise can do a lot for me, and then I start feeling a different way about the relationship. So, what I want to ask everyone is, what is your advice for nurturing professional relationships? What does that look like as an action? Is it a seasonal check-in? Is it a text from time to time? How do you participate in professional relationships? I'll start with Erica.
Oh man, putting me in the hot seat. I I'm going to start by saying I've probably been sexually harassed at every job I've ever worked in. And you would assume that this is an industry where I would, of course, experience that. And I never have. I've never felt like somebody has crossed that line with me because I go into it again with this very professional mindset and I discuss business. I don't discuss my sexual preferences. I ask them smart questions about the industry because I want to get their knowledge. I want a mentor relationship with them, which is different from a collaborating relationship with them. And so I guess what I'm trying to really describe is, have the conversation with yourself of what is it that I want from them? Am I trying to get them to cast me? Am I trying to get them to hire me? Am I trying to get the, like, what do you want from them in that relationship? And frame your interactions with them to achieve that goal. But if you are, dealing with industry executives in a way where you might be drinking a little too much or being too sexual or being, unprofessional, you might be putting yourself at risk of not being able to continue to build that professional relationship that will benefit you long term.
Very important considerations. This is so useful to folks. I know it's useful to me. Like, thank you for relaying this info. Dillon, professional relationships. What does that interaction look like? How do you navigate them?
That interaction is a lot less flirty and a lot less playful. It's almost kind of almost like strict in a way until, we've realized that we can to joke around a little bit. If I feel like there's enough space for us to be a little bit more casual, then, that we can let that happen. But for the most part, it's more of like just for lack of a better word, just being professional, just showing up on time, having good energy, coming prepared, delivering on the job, and then when keeping in touch, just hey, this is my availability. Do you have anything coming up? Thank you for that hire. Thank you for that booking. I had a really good time. I saw the work you did. It was gorgeous. Like, you try to keep it supportive, friendly, and again, professional, for lack of a better word.
I love that thank you slash check-in post whatever project or event that you worked on. That's a really important step in sort of securing that there is a professional relationship there because you're showing the respect, but you're also doing
Yes.
the check-in, but you're also keeping that boundary up, right?
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
boundary. You're not swapping photos of your pets or, showing the new room design that you've done in your living room, but you are still maintaining that professional courtesy and relationship with each other.
Yeah.
Anna, from yourself, my love, what would be your guidance, your advice on navigating professional relationships?
Um, I mean, I do keep my professional relationships very, very professional. I don't communicate outside of whatever we're working on. Like, if the project's done, we're done talking. Um, I just feel like it's very good for them to be clear on the boundaries that we have. Like, if a director's gonna reach out and be like, "Hey, you want to go to a bar?" No, 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 I'm not gonna go because I don't want any blurred lines between us. And because of your position, it can affect my future work. So I have to maintain that professionalism at all times, just because I'm in it for the long haul. So I can't go out on bars or whatever excursions and dinners and things that people may do. Even if I was like 100% single and just was like, yeah, come on, bro, let's go. It's still very important to keep those boundaries because you work here. Like, I've dated someone in the industry, and it is the weirdest thing to date someone here and break up, and then that motherfucker still taking pictures of your butthole. So keep it professional. Stay in your lane.
I love that. Nigel, what might be the ideal interactions or ways to go about professional correspondence with these relationships?
I mean, first and foremost, you gotta not have me go last in the future because the panelists are too wise and there's not much that I can add. The theme or maybe the reframe or spin that I would add to it is sometimes it just comes down to asking, these people in these positions, like, what does professionalism look like, in your practice or at your studio or, whatever it might be, and like just asking for what the expectations are so that what the boundary is from their end and see if it even aligns with your boundaries on your end. And, maybe there's room for compromise. Maybe it's non-negotiable. Like you can only know if you have the conversation.
You're such an anchor, Nigel. I love the summaries that you give for all of these subjects that we go into. You're always going to go last for that reason. It's so fabulous the way you package everything up. Beautiful. It's an art form. We do have a question from our chat, and it says, any ideas on how we can drive out slash away the unfair stigma and actually get to know the individual through respect? I'm going to wait for a hand to come up for who would like to answer this one. And of course, everyone's welcome to. But if someone has an immediate or urgent reply to this, ideas, how we can drive out the unfair stigma and actually get to know the individual through respect. Is it worth seeing if there is an individual past that stigma? That's something you have to ask yourselves, right?
I'm
Yeah.
happy to jump in if you want,
Sure,
Laura.
Erika. Yeah, yeah.
So I've worked for a lot of companies in the past where their brands had a lot of misunderstandings and misperceptions about their company. And so I've carried that with me to the porn world because it's so relevant. People come in thinking it's one thing, and then really when you explain to them what it is and what you do, they realize that it's very different than they thought. I also like to throw a lot of facts at them about OnlyFans, and all the amazing achievements that they've had in recent years. Like, hey, did you know there's Olympic athletes that have OnlyFans? And I try to kind of break through it that way with making them realize, oh, this is very relevant. More people do this than I realized. Do you know how many comedians are on OnlyFans? And try to get through to be like, it's not as taboo. It's not as it's not what you think it is. And so, like I think you were just saying, it's like, is this person open-minded? Can I have this conversation with them? And if you can, try to come at them with just facts and information. And if this person is curious to learn more, I'm sure you're going to get to a place where they are, judging you less and less.
I mean, thank you for taking the time to do that with individuals, because there is this dilemma. I don't know if everyone experiences it, but this dilemma that if you're a part of the industry, is it my responsibility to also be an activist? Though we know that we want to see this stigma be eliminated, abolished, sent away to no galaxy ever, because no one deserves this, but it is an extra effort. And it does require something of a robust presentation when the time is needed. And so you have to ask yourself, just because I'm in this industry, do I have to also be an activist? Or do I wish to be one as well? I think that can be take or choose as you wish. So any other feelings about answering this, about whether or not we can get past that stigma and find the individual that exists perhaps with it eliminated? And is that still a worthy friendship?
I mean, I think I'm thinking more in terms of the fan base and the image that I present to them in terms of breaking the stigma of what it's like to be a sex worker. I try to, particularly on Instagram, show my regular self, my regular life, along with the fantasy, along with the sexy stuff. I try to just add in just whatever, like a holiday picture, a picture of me walking my dog, a post of, talking about how much I love my husband. We do that a lot. Just things that are normal every day that people can relate to that aren't, overtly sexual, you know?
Mm, mm.
Just trying to show them that we are real people, not just, sex objects or just fantasies. We have normal lives like everyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love when I see that when every once in a while when it's granted on social media and I see someone, who's in the business and they're showing such an absolutely definition normal part of their day in life. It's a nice moment. It
Mhm.
always is.
Yeah.
With Nigel, my goodness, our lead in today's expert opinions here, my doll. If you have anything to weigh in about this question in particular.
So I mean, I think it goes back to, again, just that education, those opportunities, like showing those moments of humanity. And sex work as a field is, in that unique position of, if somebody is doing it, it is only deemed valid if somebody is given it their 100%, they're like all in on the activist front. And I've had many clients who are like, it pays my tuition, and like it's just that, and it's nothing more to me, and no shame to the people who are fighting the fight, but just not for me. And that's a valid experience too. Like, at the end of the day, it's a job. And when we think about work-life balance, we're supposed to veer on the side of prioritizing life a little bit more. Like, so this should only be a, 40-hour thing. I think 40 is still too much, but figuring out like what do things look like outside of work for you, and making sure you're prioritizing that.
And a reminder, regardless of whether or not you identify as an activist, if you exist and you create and you're a professional in the adult industry and you just exist as someone that is actively working in this, guess what? You're an activist. You're part of activism, my friends. Welcome.
Yeah.
We have one more question here, and I would love everyone to answer this, seeing as we are coming up to convention and award season. Woohoo, a lot of socializing. The question is, what kind of advice can you offer on how to stay professional at industry events and award shows? Anna, I've seen you at lots of them.
Don't do what I do at them. That's how you stay professional. But no, my little trick for staying professional at these things, especially like ex-biz and ABN, because they're multiple days long, you can get gassed out and winded on day one, and you have 5 more days to go. So I always recommend being sober. I know there's a lot of pressure and open bars and stuff like that, but that is the fastest way to ruin your whole trip. Stay sober as long as you can. Limit yourself to like maybe drinks at dinner only, and go to bed on time. Make an appearance. Like if you have to show up for an appearance at nighttime, like at a party or an event, make the appearance, take your picture, say hello to 2 people, and leave. You do not need to be there until the club closes and until the wheels fall off. Just go in, shake a hand, look around the room, see those key people that you need to talk to or you want to talk to, say hello, drop a card, and leave. That's all you need to do. Everybody's drunk, everybody's going to lose their voice, and it would be beneficial to you if you were that one person that showed up not smelling like a cigarette and were like, hello, this is what I need, let's work together, and you left. It's the best thing to do.
I love it. So easy. Erika,
Yeah.
professional composure in these wild social arenas.
I love that Anna said stay sober because, again, I adopted this in my previous life at crazy work events to be like, nope, this is not the place to do this. So it'll help you more than you think it will help you. And honestly, you don't have FOMO. Like, you're not going to miss anything if you're not out till 2 in the morning drinking. No good business is going to happen that late. So just like go to bed, take care of yourself, make sure that you don't overbook yourself. Have a schedule, but give yourself a little wiggle room because you are going to get tired. You are going to need to recharge, and you might want to be able to have that impromptu meeting with somebody and you don't want to tell them no. I will also say if you're a newer creator and you are aspiring to network with other creators, if they're doing a signing, that is not the time to approach them. If they are in the middle of shooting something or doing an interview, that is not the time to approach them. Like just be mindful of that because people are busy and they don't have like the mental capacity in that moment to talk to you about how you want to collaborate with them and lift up your own career. They're trying to meet fans. That's what a lot of these things are about. So I will also add, just because I'm a big advocate for the fans, your fans are everything to you. At these events, if you are tired, if you are burnt out, if you don't think you have anything else to give, still be nice to your fan. Don't brush them off, because that one negative interaction has more of a ripple effect than you realize. And I will say this as somebody who used to work in sports and entertainment, and like, you make the time to do the picture, sign the thing, and put that smile on that face, because that means you have that fan for a lifetime.
And we are professionals.
Yes.
Dillon, what you got for us?
I think it's unanimous. Stay sober. Stay sober. You have to be in control of your body and your mind, and you can't get too you can't lose control. You got to stay in control. You got to keep that smile on. And also for me, the physical contact. I As much as I will give is a handshake or a hug. This is not the place for us to do anything more than that. People are wearing makeup. You don't want to mess up their makeup. Like a handshake and a hug. That's it. More physical contact. We'll save that for the camera.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. You know, I always consider, what is my professional persona when I'm getting ready to go to one of these events? And I've unfortunately built up a reputation of this annoying, energetic person. That's a lot to provide for. And I am a sober person. So what do I do getting ready to perform this marathon of Laura Desiree at one of these, X3s or AVNs? I do opening and closing ceremonies for myself. Okay. I wake up in the morning after a good night's sleep. I take my shower, but then I'll reserve like 15 minutes to perform a Super Bowl halftime show in my hotel room. And it's like full commitment, full character. I'm throwing down. It's the songs I love. I'm envisioning that I'm actually voicing these words, even if it's like a male voice. I'm like, this is me on the mic. Like I get so committed and excited about that performance and that playtime that I'm jazzed when I hit the floor, because I know I just rocked it. I just slayed it. The end of the night, I go and I take that hot shower. I give myself the most meditative, loving, I do a whole suit made of soap suds. I step away from the stream. I build a new gown and it's made of soap suds. It's all over me. It looks fabulous. And then I slowly let it rinse off of me, and the performance rinses off as well. And that's sort of the procedures I do for showtime, right? Getting into that. Nigel, what are we missing? You got any professional practices for big social events?
I mean, like always, all the yes to everything that has been said, and I will make a plug for XBiz and AVN of Pineapple Support having a presence there. So if you need a space where you can, step aside and, maybe let some of that professionalism down and just, decompress for a second, what you just shared makes me think we need to have like games and things going on in the space that we'll be in. So maybe that's something we'll consider, but that can be an opportunity to unwind during the stressful weeks.
Just don't make it a karaoke machine, Nigel, because no one else will be on it, and you won't see me the entire event because I will be on mic.
Fair enough.
We do not need that to happen. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for today's discussion. You went to vulnerable places. You shared so much of yourself with us. I feel like we are all friends now. Thank you for this. It was really lovely. And I know that our attendees, our audience really gained a lot from it as well. And folks, I'm going to have everyone sign off and let this audience know where to find you online. But a little reminder that we do have our final day, and that's tomorrow. So starting at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have a presentation, and then we have that panel discussion in the second hour. Everything is about the self relationship. We've been building to this climax, and it is perhaps the most sacred of all relationships, the one that we have with ourselves. So I hope that you prioritize a little bit of time. I know it's holiday crunch and it's busy season, but if you can join us, please do. We'll start with our sign-offs with Anna.
Okay, it's me again, Anna Foxx. Follow me, and it's ANAFO on Instagram. It's what did the Fox say with 2 X's, because I was deleted 8 times. But yeah, everything's smut. I'm there.
Thanks, Anna. Erika, let them know where to find you.
I just dropped it in the chat. My Instagram is Love K Cups. My Twitter is Real Erika Love.
Thank you so much. Dillon, where can people get connected?
I am on all social media as Dillon Diaz 11, or well, either Dillon Diaz or Dillon Diaz 11. I needed the number somewhere. But yeah, you can find me there. I'm friendly, I don't bite.
And Nigel, once more, where can we find you?
I'm not cool and on social media, so instead you can just find me through my website, Manifest Counseling, and send me an email.
Amazing. Anything you might need from Miss Laura Desiree right here, you can find it at thelauradesiree.com. Thank you, everyone. And please do spread the message of tomorrow's sessions. You can carry along any of those posts from our Pineapple Support Instagram pages, our Twitter pages. All of the promo material is there, so please do spread the word. And everyone, yes, we look forward to seeing you back once again. I'm just seeing the little comment from Pineapple Support in the chat. This was a fabulous discussion, so necessary. Thank you all. And until then, wishing you a fabulous time. We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.